Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Donny Osmond performs live at MGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland this Wednesday night. I spoke to the pop legend about his early family career with One Bad Apple, the advice he got from Michael Jackson about pivoting to solo hits like Soldier of Love, and how co-hosting Donny and Marie TV shows helped launch Star Wars, Britney Spears, and Beyonce, not to mention winning Dancing with the Stars and almost winning The Masked Singer. Hey, Donny Osmond. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP in Washington, D.C.
My pleasure.
This is really cool to talk with you. We should tell everybody the reason we're chatting is because you were coming to perform live at MGM National Harbor on August 2nd, so everybody should get their tickets. What can we expect from the show? Is it going to be sort of greatest hits throughout all the years? I know there's so many iterations of, the Osmonds.
Jason, that is the perfect question to ask because this is pretty much the ultimate show I've ever put together. This is my show, my residency show in Las Vegas. And I decided, people don't just want to come to a concert. They want an experience. So I put everything I've ever done in 6 decades of show business in one show. As a matter of fact, there's a segment. You talk about the old hits and things like that. There's a segment I call the request segment. It's about, 15 minutes long, 20 minutes long, however long it takes. I put all 65 albums that I've done on the screen, and the audience can pick any song from any album I've ever done in my entire life, and we do it just like that.
Wow. How do you remember all those lyrics, though? There have to be some that you flash up on the screen.
Last night, somebody asked for a song, and I was just outside Boston and did a show there. Somebody asked for a song. Man, dude, I don't even remember recording it. but the band knew it. So we got through it. It was funny, and it was exciting. We did Crazy Horses. People always ask for the 12th of Never, Go Away Little Girl, things like that. Somebody last night wanted something from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It's such a fun segment to the show because it changes every night.
I love it. That's such a cool way to do it. Because like you're saying, when you've had so many hits over so many decades, it's almost like let's do a Russian roulette, jukebox audience request. It's perfect.
That's exactly what it is. And I've got people all over the audience, up in the balcony, whatever, with microphones, so the entire audience can participate in that segment. It's such a fun thing. There's one more segment out of all the things that I do in the show that really has become a fan favorite. I actually do a rap. And I came up with this idea when I put the Vegas residency together. And because I said, how am I going to fit 6 decades in one show? So I created this rap. It's about 10 minutes long. And everything I say in the rap, you actually see visually. And I go through 6 decades in 10 minutes. It's pretty phenomenal. It's like data overload for 10 minutes.
I love it. Well, similar to how you are trying to, cram 6 decades of music into one show, let's try to do 6 decades of a career in one interview. We'll do our best to hit the highlights.
Okay.
All right. I know you were born in Utah in 1957, and your older brothers were sort of doing the Osmond Brothers thing starting in 62. Later would just become the Osmonds. Talk about the Jackson 5, I guess, came right around that same time. Talk about why that was such a big thing back then. People love seeing these, family bands on stage and on TV.
Let's go back to 1960. I think it was 2 or 3 when I made my debut. It was on the Andy Williams Show.
Yeah.
In fact, that's one of the segments, night before last, I tell you, I do a duet with Andy Williams on stage. Of course, his song was Moon River, right? And I've always done a tribute to Andy and things like that. But this time I said, I want to actually sing with Andy. We actually do a duet. I found the highest quality video of him singing Moon River, and we sing it together. It's really a cool moment. And our first show of this tour, the place just stood up at the end, standing ovation. It went on and on and on. It was absolutely amazing. It's compelling. It's tear-jerking. It's relevant. It's just amazing what happened a few nights ago when we started this thing.
That's so cool. And what are you, age 5 at that point?
So what I was age 5 when that took place, and there's highlights of all those things. But let's answer your question about the Jackson 5. I remember first time we met, I want to say it was around 70, 71 or 72, something like that. Yeah, it must have been 71 because One Bad Apple had just hit.
Okay.
And we were performing at the Canadian National Exhibition up in Toronto. And the Jacksons flew in the day before their show because they performed the day after us. They came in to see our show. I wanted to stay so badly to watch their show, but we had a concert the next day in another city. I couldn't. But what I remember about that moment is during the show, I looked over to stage right, and there in the wings was Michael peeking around the curtain, watching me on stage.
Wow.
It was such a cool moment, and in retrospect, it was a pretty significant moment. But what was really interesting about that whole encounter is that after the show, we all went back to the hotel. We were staying at the same hotel, and there was Joe and Catherine sitting on the sofa with my mom and dad. And then Marlon and Tito and Jackie, all those guys with Alan, Wayne, and Merrill, my brothers. But Donny and Michael were nowhere to be found. Guess where we were?
Where were Donny and Michael?
We were in the. I remember we're like 13 years old at the time. Yeah. We're in the other room playing with toys.
Wow.
Now here's two kids, having #1 records at the time, and to contemporaries at the time. But all we wanted to do was just be kids, and we were playing with toys and laughing and just having a good time as two little 13-year-old teenagers.
Wow. Yeah, getting to have a childhood that you never really got to have compared to other people. Just want play with the toys. Wow. Really well, so Michael broke off obviously from the Jacksons and had King of Pop career solo, but you did same, became a teen idol yourself. We're in all those Tiger Beat 16 magazines.
No, Jason. let's call it the way it is. He left me in the dust.
I was trying to be nice. His moonwalking shoes
were
just kicking dust on you,
dude. Yeah, the guy just went crazy. He said something to me, and because we've remained friends all throughout the years. And I went over to his house and we were talking. I said, because he played me Thriller before it came out. I was one of the first ones to hear it. He played a cassette in his rolls, and because he had to go to someplace, he gave me a ride. And he played it for me, and I said, Mike, this is going to be absolutely amazing. How do I get back on the charts? How do I do this as well? And he told me something, Jason, that just offended me. He said, Donny, your name is Poison. You got to get your music out without your name. And it was so offensive at the time.
Why? What do you mean, Donny or Osmond? What did he mean?
Donny Osmond. Wow. Donny Osmond's name was Poison because of the image and all that kind of stuff. As great as the Donny Marie show was, it really left me with this cutesy goody image. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't get back on the charts because no record company would touch me. And he said, well, your name's your problem. So fast forward to 1989. That's when Soldier of Love came out. A huge hit. Guess how it became a hit? Without my name. Radio stations wanted to play it because the song was great. Everybody requested the record, but they were afraid to say that they were playing Donny Osmond music because my name wasn't cool at the time. And so
it's
Michael
like we'll play a Partridge Family song or something. You know what I mean? You had to outgrow that image.
Exactly, Jason. That's exactly right. So Michael was exactly right back in, I think he told me that in 1983, and just before Thriller came out. I think that's when Thriller came out, and that's exactly what happened. So Soldier of Love hit without my name. Everybody did me a favor, but just by playing the song, and then Sacred Emotion was the follow-up hit to that.
Yeah,
and then I spent all these years working to get back on the charts, and I make the most interesting left turn in my career. I go back to Broadway. I do theater, and I do a show called Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And I signed a 6-month contract, and 6 years later, I finally say, I got to hang up this loincloth and do something else because it was so successful. And I said, no, let's get back to recording and do some other things that I want to do because 10 years, almost to the month, Jason, 10 years before I did Joseph, I failed miserably on Broadway and a show called Little Johnny Jones. In fact, I talk about this in the rap that I do in my show, and because you got to look at the good and the bad. And that's what makes something very interesting. And that's what makes this rap that I do in the show so compelling because it shows everything, the good and the bad and the indifferent.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna. I have a couple of Broadway / all of your, TV competition shows and game shows questions that I'd like to get to in a second. But let me double back really quick. I have to ask about the Osmonds TV Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. What was that like? It was a Rankin and Bass production. Do
It
you
was
think that
Rankin and
helped?
Bass.
Yeah. Did that just sort of like ingrain you in a whole generation of kids eating cereal, watching? They know the Osmonds now.
It's really true. In fact, the Jacksons had a cartoon show with us as well.
Right.
As a matter of fact, what I do is I do One Bad Apple in my show.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, how can we make this kind of unique? And my 4 male dancers, we all dress up in the, the 70s outfits and all that kind of stuff. But we actually show the cartoon on the huge screen behind us while we're doing One Bad Apple. It's actually so funny. But it takes everybody back to 1971 when the cartoons were on and Bad Apple became number one and the whole thing started.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, a whole generation will remember One Bad Apple, but then and also all your other solo hits, like you did Sweet and Innocent, which was a Roy Orbison. You did Go Away Little Girl, which was Steve Lawrence, Puppy Love by Paul Anka, like all that stuff.
That's right.
But tell me about when how did the brother sister duo thing sort of pivot out of that? Because the Donny and Marie TV variety show from 76 to 79, like it's almost hard to describe to kids nowadays how huge of a platform a variety show, because now they're inundated with so many channels. But doing a variety show with the brother sister duo, that was massive beyond kids' comprehension today, right?
Well, I'm going to give you a number. I don't know if your audience can understand what a share is.
Sure.
But so the Donny and Marie show, I think that the highest share we got was like a 32 share. That's Super Bowl numbers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's like huge, a 32 share. So, somebody told me one time, more people saw one episode of the Donny and Marie show than the entire ticket sales of the movie Jaws.
Wow. Seriously?
In just 1 week. In fact, what's quite interesting, George Lucas, when he came out with Star Wars, I don't know if you know about this, a little bit of Star Wars trivia for you.
I love it. You're talking to our movie critic on this station too, so I'm game. Let's go, baby.
Okay, so George Lucas wrote this little script called Star Wars. He released it, I think it was in 77,
yeah.
Okay, 77. Okay, so released it around May of 77. And it hit the box office. It did some great numbers, but then it started petering off around that summer. So George saw our numbers, what the Donny and Marie show was getting. And he allowed us to debut Darth Vader, Chewbacca, R2-D2, and C-3PO. We did a spoof on Star Wars for one of our finales of the Donny and Marie show. So we debuted Star Wars on television, and it was right after the airing of that, the numbers of Star Wars. Now, it sounds like I'm patting myself on the back here. I'm just giving you trivia statistics, okay? But what happened after the airing of the Donny and Marie show, Star Wars took off like crazy.
Yeah.
And George kind of attributes the Donny and Marie show for a lot of that success.
That is such a great story. And yes, the way I frame it, I will not say Donny Osmond takes credit for Star Wars, but I will say that the exposure
Jason,
of the show.
No, Jason, I am going to take credit.
I was trying to save you, but yeah, hell, let's go for it. Donny and Marie.
I'll take 50% and I'll give Marie 50%. How's that?
I love it. So that's perfect. So, but seriously though, like, so while Carol Burnett sort of retroactively spoofed Gone with the Wind, the top grossing adjusted for inflation movie, you guys did the number 2 adjusted for inflation Star Wars, but yours was in real time.
You look at the trajectory of the sales when the airing of the Donny and Marie show, and somebody did that and showed me, and they said, "Oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me." The trajectory of the success and sales of Star Wars really took off after the Donny and Marie show aired because it captured all the young kids.
Wow. Well, I guess so then I guess when you did the Donny and Marie TV talk show in 98 through 2000, I guess we can just credit you for what? Lord of the Rings or something.
Well, you know what's interesting? You bring that talk show up. We debuted Britney Spears on daytime television there, Christina Aguilera. I remember introducing Beyonce when she was with Destiny. and then her career just took off like crazy. I mean, we had so many great people on that show, and we only did it for 2 years, but boy, what we did in 2 years was pretty impactful.
Yeah, a daytime Emmy nomination for that too. I love this. So see, everyone knows how big of, music stars you were on yourself, your own talent for song and dance. But what they're getting out of this interview is that you were sort of like kingmakers of all these movies and other musicians. It's great. You introduced us to our pop culture of all these other.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm solely responsible. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Sure, Jason.
You're the gatekeeper of pop culture.
I'll take I'll take that that title.
Hey, tell me about some of your Disney stuff, because for Mulan, the animated movie, you sang "I'll Make a Man Out of You," and then you played Gaston in Broadway's Beauty and the Beast. Memories of those, really quick. The Disney stuff.
Let's talk about Milan for a second. It's probably the most important thing I ever recorded was "I'll Make a Man Out of You," because Puppy Love and Wombat Apple and all these things, these hits that I've had, they belong to a certain generation. Okay, and eventually that generation will just go away, and it'll be in the annals of the history of music, pop music. However, "I'll Make a Man Out of You" is going to belong to every generation because it's a Disney film. Not just a Disney film, but it's now considered to be one of the classic Disney films. And I was just looking at some statistics. It gets 2 million streams a month, just that song alone. And so, in fact, I do that in our Vegas production, and I'm bringing it to MGM as well. We turn the theater into a Mulan experience. I have some of the most amazing dancers, and I got permission from Disney to use the film in this show, and I made a special edit for the production that we do. And we're doing the stick fight dancing right in front of Captain Shang behind me. And when I go into "Let's get down to business," it's very interesting to watch some of the reaction of people out in the audience, because a lot of people don't know that I am Captain Shang in that movie.
Right.
And maybe some people think, why is he doing a song for Mulan? And then they realize, hold on, Donny is Captain Shang.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what's so cool, and why I wanted to have you on today, man, because everyone knows your name, it's ubiquitous, but I truly believe people forget just how many things you've been involved in. You know what I mean? So it's like a good reminder.
Yeah.
Yes, Mulan. Yeah, everything.
That's what this show does. I mean, that's what this show that I'm bringing to MGM actually does, because I was talking to somebody the other day. They said it's just absolutely means I saw your life flash before my eyes when I watched the show, but coincidentally, I watched my own life flash before my eyes because I lived all those experiences with you.
Oh, that's such a good way to put it. You've been so generous with your time, but before we go, I do want to ask about sort of that the all and it spanned several decades at this point, but like the game shows and reality competition kind of era. So like I know you hosted Pyramid for a while, carrying that legacy of Dick Clark, now Michael Strahan, but like a great legacy of hosts with that. You won season 9 of Dancing with the Stars, and you were even a runner-up a couple years ago on season 1 of The Masked Singer. Damn that T-Pain.
Well, right? No. Let's take The Masked Singer one step further. Okay. I was the very first Masked Singer.
Oh, you were the very first episode, you mean?
I started that franchise, dude. Wow. I'll take credit for that one as well.
The headline of this article is going to be "Donny Osmond takes credit for everything." I'm just kidding, but
for everything.
But you could.
But no, what's interesting, I almost won. I almost won Masked Singer. T-Pain barely beat me out. I talked to the producers after the show was all over, and they said we can't give you numbers because that'd be illegal. But let's just suffice it to say it was a hairline split as to who won. So they said it was just so close. But T-Pain got it. And you know what? Good for him, because the guy is an amazing singer. He's absolutely phenomenal. I'm sure you've heard him without auto-tune. The guy has got the most amazing voice. So if I was to become second runner-up to somebody, I'm glad it was T-Pain.
Yes, and you were ahead of Gladys Knight. So that's not a bad gold, silver, bronze right there, baby.
I knew it was Gladys. She's got and I've known Gladys for years because I didn't know who I was competing against. None of us knew.
What was your costume again? What was yours and hers and T-Pain's?
I was a peacock, she was the bee, and T-Pain was the monster.
Right.
Yeah.
But you could tell it was her. All right.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're standing next to each other at the very end. We did a production number, and I said, "Hi, Gladys." And she said, "Shh, don't you say that."
It's confirming without confirming. That's great.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. Well, what's next? I guess this show. I guess you retired the 11-year Vegas residency you were talking about, right? That ended like right before COVID, right?
That was with Marie, but now I have my own residency at Harrah's.
Oh, okay.
Which I got to tell you something. Here, now I'm going to sound like I'm bragging again. Okay, I apologize to all of your listeners. I apologize. I'm not that kind of guy, but I guess I am.
It's not bragging
but,
if you back it up, my friend. It's not bragging.
I'm backing this up. When you launch a show in show business, especially like in Las Vegas, you do your best and you throw everything against the wall and see if it sticks. And the same thing happened to me about almost 3 years ago when I launched my own residency. Who knows what's going to happen? But I surrounded myself with the best of the best in the business, and we produced this show. And we got the award for best show, best production, best headliner. And dude, I recognize, and I just don't throw those titles out haphazardly, because I played Vegas all my life. You know how many shows are in Vegas, but to get the award for best show and best production is such a feather in my cap, and I appreciate it to no end, because again, I know how difficult it is to get those awards because of the competition. So that's why I wanted to bring this show out on the road, because I realized not everybody can come to Las Vegas. So I'm bringing Vegas to Oxon Hill.
Absolutely. You will be, instead of having to go to a casino in Vegas, you can come to the MGM casino at National Harbor there in it's Oxon Hill, like you mentioned, but you can see DC. It's right across the river there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody come on out and see Donny Osmond, who may have gotten left in the dust by Michael Jackson, but launched the careers of George Lucas, Beyonce, Britney Spears, T-Pain.
Well, I'm going to give you one last thing, and we're going to end it on this.
Yes.
Do you remember Mike's song, "Ben, the two of us need like no more"? You know that song. Everybody knows that song.
Yes.
Jason, did you know that was written for me?
Really?
That was my song. And the reason I didn't record it is because I was on the road touring with my brothers, and they had to finish the movie. I think it was called Willard or something like that. It's about a rat. And so they said, well, let's get this Michael Jackson kid. He's got a high voice. It became Michael's first #1 solo record.
Wow.
But that song was my song. And 40 years later, I finally decided to record my song. Every once in a while, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it at the MGM when I come.
You're talking about the song Ben.
Ben, that was my song.
Wow. You were supposed to be the killer rat. Who knew?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, see,
good talking to you, man.
Absolutely. You've given me so much gold, so many good stories that, I didn't even know was going to come out of this interview. So thank you so much. Everybody, check out the one and only Donny Osmond at MGM National Harbor on August 2nd. Everybody get your tickets now. Hey, thanks so much. This was fun.
Thanks, Jason. See ya.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.